Well, good evening and welcome to Will Henry's impressively illuminated workshop. I am Will Henry. So yeah, you can see it's pretty bright in here. It was pretty obvious with a lot of the earlier videos that lighting was an issue. So I bought a whole bunch of new lights and put them in, and yeah, it's a lot brighter. You might also notice that the workshop's comparatively uncluttered. Now, when I say comparatively, I mean compared to New Orleans right after Katrina. But for my shop, it's pretty near pristine. I even went so far as to sweep the floor. I still wouldn't recommend you eat off of it, but at least now, if you dropped a sandwich, you'd be able to find it. And what you did with it after that would be entirely up to you. Anyway, with the improved lighting, I thought that it might be worthwhile to revisit the setting up of a barrel in the lathe, and I'm going to try and do it so that you can actually see what's happening. And so it'll make it a little more interesting, and if not more interesting, it'll at least be more visible. So here we go. And the barrel I'll be setting up is that barrel for the Model 95 Winchester, and I'll set this up for this video, and then in the next video we'll chamber it. And during the chambering, I've also got a different perch for the camera that should give you a lot better view of that operation as well. And you won't see me as much, but you'll temper your disappointment because you will be able to see the operation better. So anyway, I'm going to just spin you around. You can't avoid this. You're going to have to get spun around from time to time. And spin you around and see if we can't kind of get lined up here. And so we'll be setting the barrel up in the 4-jaw independent chuck and trying to adjust it so it's running as close to with as close to zero run out as we can get it. So as you recall, I use a piece of brass wire on the barrel. That brass wire serves two purposes. It keeps from marring the barrel, and it also allows the barrel to pivot in the chuck so that I can align it with the spider at the back. And actually, it's just 3 screws in the other end of the spindle. But anyway, let's. So I'll see if I can get this. Try and get. I'm just going to run this gauge on the center that I cut in here with the boring bar, and see if. Okay, I'm going to shift you up a little closer. I'm going to try and stay out of your way. I notice I have a real tendency to block the camera, so I'm going to try and improve that as well. We're going to zoom in a little here. Okay, now we can actually see, and yeah, I'm kind of out of the way. So anyway, start out, well, I've only got about 10 thousandths indicated there. So I'll just try to adjust that out of there. Now at this stage, I don't have to be super precise here because I'm going to re-indicate it after I do the other end anyway. But still, it's kind of nice to at least be semi-close. Well, that's within 1,000th, and that'll do for the moment. So at the other end, go ahead and set the dial up. Now at the other end, you'll see, well, before I set you there, okay, at this end I have the dial set up here, and you'll see at the end of the spindle I've got 3 screws that I use to center the barrel up. Now on this particular barrel, I've recontoured this barrel, and there again this center was cut so it's quite concentric with the bore. So the outside of the barrel is actually pretty well concentric with the bore, so I can indicate just on the outside of the barrel. But typically a person indicates on the inside, and generally I'll put a pilot in there, or I'll make a little pin that's a close fit in the bore, and I can indicate off that. But when I make a little pin, it has to be a pretty precise fit, and I don't know if anybody's caught on to it, but sometimes I misplace things, and so quite often I end up having to make a new pin all the time. So anyway, I was thinking that what I really needed to do was make a little pin that was kind of adjustable, and then it dawned on me that I had this this old Bushnell bore sider set that I think my dad bought in the mid-60s, and here we come. And here it is, still has the instructions and everything. And but anyway, they come with an expandable arbor, so it'll fit. I think this one's meant to fit anything from 7mm up to 338 or some darn thing. But anyway, I thought, well, if this works, I should maybe I could use it. So I tried it out, and darned if it didn't give very precise readings, and it was repeatable. No matter how many times I took it in and out, it still indicated the same. So it seems to be a viable system. And so anyway, I'm just going to set up on this and show you. Okay, now, so let's see what we got here. So there again, we're showing just about, just almost 20 thousandths of indicated run out there. So again, we'll try and see if we can improve things a little. So there, as you can see, that's fairly zero-ish, showing a little less than half a thousandth of movement. And so here's the thing, I can, as I said, I can take this out and then put it back in. And it's pretty repeatable. It again, it's showing just about half a thousandth of movement, a little less maybe. And we'll try and see if we can't get rid of that. There we go. That's pretty solid. So now, having done that, I go back to the first end, and again, I'm going to move you. And now we're going to switch dials here. And let's see. So, take a little different vantage point here. So there you just lost a little height, but I think you can see just a little better. So now I can see that jumps, and the reason is, of course, it's riding on the top of the lands, or the high part in the rifling. So now, and that's where I try to indicate is at the top of the lands. Whoops, there's a little more of a movement than I wanted. But there we go, at the top of the lands, we're within, this is maybe just a smidgen high. Okay, we're within a couple tenths, and experience has shown me that I'm not going to get a lot better than that. And at the other end, with that little bit of movement, now we're running off by about 2 thousandths. Go. And then one more time up at this end. And still pretty good, so there we go. So that's it. That's there we go. Get your height back. A little more to this camera business than meets the eye, at least when you're an old klutz. So anyway, there we are. The barrel's set up. That's all there is to it. That took all of about 10 minutes of actual doing, if that. And but there you go. And the Bushnell expanding arbor, as you can see, works out just fine. And I never really thought much of this, but the thing is with these, like I said, the front part of the arbor expands, to fit the barrel, but the rear part, this is a, it's a taper, and it sits up against the crown of the barrel. And so if the barrel was crooked, if that crown was slanted, that would cause this thing to be off, and then it would do no good whatsoever. So that has to be square. And the other thing is, I noticed that if your person uses this too much, you're going to wear a groove in there. So now and then it might be necessary to polish this, but for now I'm actually kind of pleased with the whole idea, and that's better than making pins and losing them. Now a lot of guys buy pins and they come in a nice set, and I'm sure they're very well organized and keep them all together, but sadly that kind of organization just isn't in my skill set. So there we have it. Anyway, just give me a moment. I'm going to hunt down the remote, and I don't have to look too far. You can see it's right over here on the bench. And so with that, I'll say good evening, and on the next video, we'll chamber that barrel.